And we're back with part two, and I have transported to a different location as well. So I have a question. I'm gonna start out with this question. Have you ever felt like anyone just made untrue assumptions about you? I have felt this. I'm 34 years old, and there are still so many people out there that think that all I am is this big ball of bubbly, silly energy that just goes around, like a bull in a china shop. Have you ever heard that expression? Just no seriousness at all. And it's like, come on. So anyway, have you felt that?
Oh no, the car! Oh no, the cat! Oh no, so many things are breaking. Katie, you have to aim better. If I feel it, I don't think that I feel it because, to be honest, I don't really care what other people think about me. I assume, like thinking about it logically, I assume many people think different things about me, some good, some bad, some true, some aren't true. I don't really mind. If I can take this question maybe to a bit of a different place, then one thing that I really dislike in the world now, and I don't have a better alternative for it, but I just conceptually I dislike it. It's the idea of CVs, of curriculum vitae, or whatever you say it in English or Latin. I hate the idea that people judge you by what's written on a piece of paper. I understand where it's coming from. I understand that nowadays there are many applications to many job places, and there must be some process of filtering out the people who do not fit the position. But conceptually, the idea behind it, I really hate it, that people are judged by how they appear on the paper more than their actual abilities. That's some sort of an assumption that I don't like being made as a norm these days. But if what people think about me, to be honest, I couldn't care less. I mean, people hate me, people like me. That's the nature of the world. If people really cared about knowing what's true about me, then they would make the effort to talk to me. And if they don't do it and just make assumptions, then that's their own problem. That's a trait I very much not appreciate, and I don't mind if people do it. It doesn't deserve my attention for it at all, I think. So yeah, that's the answer to that's the answer to the question.
I'm talking without the thing because I wanted to pop in and say, yes, I agree. I'm 6 years away from 40, and it looks like I have nothing. I have no degrees. I have no pieces of paper proving that any of my experiences were worth anything. It stinks. It stinks to be judged on a work standpoint on that.
So, Katie, I'm gonna go back to another YouTube question. So, you've been an extremely good friend with trying to reignite my motivation to make YouTube videos once again. And one thing that you kept on saying whenever we talked about it was, it matters. What you do matters. You always kept on saying that it matters. And I want to aim this phrase at you. Why do you think what you do in YouTube matters? So here's the ball.
Wow, like, I have tears in my eyes that what I said actually, meant something to you. Why do I feel like it matters? I don't know. A few people have told me it does. I feel like for me personally it matters because... Oh shoot, my microphone's way over here. For me personally, it does, because I could, in my free time, not playing with the kids, when Morton's with them, whatnot, I could just watch Netflix shows and have nothing to show for my time, nothing to show for months and months of my life, years and years of my life. I don't have the greatest memories, so people tell me about stuff I did with them or experiences we had in Covenant Players, and I was like, I don't remember that. So it's saving memories and having something to show for my time. It feels like part of leaving a legacy, having this video journal. And I just feel this passion inside that, you know, I've talked about this a lot before, but the thought about, when I think about how much loneliness sucks, because I've been so lonely. I don't want anybody to feel that. So I want to be real. I want to I want to spread positivity and help make the world a little bit better of a place. Here with so many horrible comment sections, and we've read some of these ones where people are just tearing each other apart, but never in my videos. There's never been any tearing down. So I feel like we all have a responsibility to show some light and show some goodness. And it's so much easier for me to tell other people that their content matters, because I can often see more value in other people's videos than in my own. And I can just see so much value in yours. So I'm snotting. Okay. So, anyway, you have talked a lot about the Netherlands and what it's meant to you, your time there. And I thought it would be interesting to kind of hear some of the differences between the Netherlands and Israel. So, yeah, I'd love to hear about that. Okay, you can do this. You can catch this. I believe in you.
Let me bring a pen and paper to answer that question. So I actually made a few videos after I started doing YouTube, exactly when around the time I moved back from the Netherlands to Israel. And many of the first videos that I made were discussing this exact thing, the differences I felt from living in the Netherlands and living in Israel. And it was a pretty extreme time for me. But in one of the videos there, I said that the Netherlands to me is this. The Netherlands to me is a line, and Israel to me is this wavy form. And I explained in the video that Israel is this wavy form because sometimes it brings you here to the lowest of the lows, but sometimes it takes you really, really high. Nowadays, I think that this graph or this drawing summarizes pretty well the difference between Israel and the Netherlands to me. Nowadays, I would look at it maybe slightly different. I'm going to use shapes again to describe it. I'm finding the crappiest pieces of paper. So as I said, nowadays I would maybe use slightly different shapes to describe the difference. So to me, in my understanding, in my experience, the Netherlands is a square and Israel is a circle. I'm not going to expand much on it. You can take away whatever you understand. I'm just gonna try and explain it very minimally. And I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I can't really judge because each one has their own vices and virtues. But a square is a shape that it's much more tight, defined. The corners are very pointy. You know what you're seeing. You know where you're going. You know where you are. A circle, on the other hand, is much more flowy. It's a bit more free in its spirit, and the corners are rounded. And it's a bit more dynamic than a square. This is the difference I'm feeling between the Netherlands and Israel. Again, I'm not saying that one is better than the other. To be honest, in my personal experience, I felt better living in a square than I do in a circle. And just maybe one last example to exemplify this. So it's an interesting example, to be honest. In the Netherlands, every year they have, what do they call it? Kokenhof, I think? Of course, your friend Jovi can support me on that. Yeah, it's Kokenhof. So every year there's a festival. There's a flowers festival, or a tulip. Tulip is like the national flower of the Netherlands. So every year they have this flower festival in a place called the Kokenhof, and they make the most beautiful flower garden you've ever seen. Really, like they shape all the flowers and they kind of plant them all perfectly. And it's just so precise and beautiful. So I'm gonna put up some pictures of that now on the screen. On the other hand, let me also show you a picture of a garden of an Israeli friend of mine who's living in the Netherlands. And again, maybe you can see why some things are square and some things are circle. So I'm gonna expand a bit more on that. I'm gonna leave it kind of allegorically and symbolically open. Now that I've heard everything that I wanted to hear about you and YouTube, then I'm going to throw back your question at you. Where do you feel most at home, Katie? Here's the ball.
Where do I feel most at home? Home is such a weird word, isn't it? When you've traveled as much as we have, it's like the mountains in Utah. They are so comforting and imposing and familiar when I'm back there. Getting a hug from my mom. I'm missing my family right about now. I mean, it's more at the front of my mind because I have sick family members and it's just a really hard time. It's like, it's so amazing to live 5 minutes from the beach, but the beach doesn't feel like home. I've said for a long time that Morton is my home, that he's the steadfast person in my life. I don't know if you've ever heard that Billy Joel song, You're My Home. There's this beautiful line. It was especially meaningful for us when we were traveling full time. If I travel all my life and I never get to stop and settle down, long as I have you by my side, there's a roof above and four walls all around. I may never have a place that I can call my very own, but that's alright, my love, 'cause you're my home. Yeah, that's a special song for us. Yeah, being my kids, my husband, that is my safe place. What is something that you would change about society to make the world a better place? These are keys. They're gonna turn into a ball soon. So, just I know you got this. You got this, Omry. Omry, you got this.
Yes, cut it. That's an interesting question. Um, you know what? There are two reasons why I decided to study history, philosophy, and literature in university. The reason why I chose these subjects is because I feel like no matter how hard I try, I do not understand the world around me. I just don't. I don't understand society enough. Things happen in the world and I can't find explanations for them. Things happen in my life and I can't find explanations for them. And I'm hoping that by learning the history of the world, kind of knowing where things have originated, where my story of my people originated, where the story of the world originated, by studying philosophy that kind of helps your brain explore the world to a more wider degree. So this is the main reason why I started studying these subjects in university. So to answer your questions, I don't feel like I understand the world enough or understand society well enough to know what I would change about it. One thing, maybe if I look at it on a more personal perspective. So one idea or one perception that kind of guided me through life, and I want to hope that if other people can also learn from it or apply it in their own lives, then maybe as a whole we would become a better society. I don't know, but one idea that kind of guides me in life is the importance of feeling everything, the good and the bad. Allow yourself to feel. Actually, there's a very interesting story. Maybe I'm gonna make a small detour just to tell this story. Not too long ago, I worked with a company on a video that they made. It was a very big project, and I really cared for making this project right. And they ended up really not liking the video that I made, and they criticized me very harshly. And it was actually the first time that someone criticized me this harshly on something that I made. Now, any creation, the way I see it, any creation is something that comes from deep within. And it felt really, really hard being criticized about something that is so deep and inherent and personal in me. And I remember I felt this sensation that I haven't felt in a long while, or maybe even in my life. It was this criticizing you on something that is extremely deep in you. And I felt so bad. And my first reaction, my body's reaction was, of course, ego, like to push this feeling away. And I remember, and I immediately controlled that ego. I put it on the side and I just allowed myself to take it in. So I moved my ego away. I just took this sensation in, and I remember feeling it very physically. I felt it overtaking me, and then within a second, I was able to control it. Once I let it in me, once I accepted it, I was able to control it. And within a second, I just told it to go away and it disappeared. So I think it's extremely important for people to feel everything, the good and the bad, and learn how to control the feelings to an extent. Both the good and the bad. So of course, when you're feeling a bad feeling like anger, it's very important to know to put an extent, to put a limit to your anger, otherwise it can become harmful. The same way with a positive feeling, love. If you love someone so deeply and you do not put a limit to your love, then you can actually end up hurting that person. You can start growing jealous, or you can start growing more possessive towards them, which makes even a positive feeling potentially harmful. So yes, if there is something, I don't know if it's the word change is the right word, but one thing that I hope I can pass on to other people in hopes that they apply it in their own lives is the need to feel everything, the good and the bad, and learn how to control the feelings and put them and give them healthy boundaries. And I'm gonna bounce the question back to you, because it's a very interesting question and I want to hear it from your perspective, Katie. So what's one thing you would change about the world and society? So here's the ball.
Like for me, it would be these stupid, ridiculous gender things. Like women have to wear makeup and care about fashion. Men shouldn't cry or like musicals or they're gay or whatever. These stupid things. They need to change. There's so many problems in the world that just go directly to the boxes that genders are put into of how they're allowed to be, how they're allowed to look, how they're allowed to act. Makes me so angry. Don't get me started. But yeah, you summed it up a lot better than in that simple way. No matter what you look like or what organs you were born with, you should be allowed to feel. And there is so much power in... It's like in that movie Upside Down, or Inside Out, you doofus, Katie. Inside Out. Did you see that? Oh, that movie touched me so deeply. I sobbed. I've watched it like twice. I sobbed both times. It's just like that. Sometimes feelings have to be mixed with sadness, and that's okay. Such good stuff.
Katie, it's been fun as usual speaking to you. Thank you for inviting me to your channel. It was awesome and insightful as usual. I'm sorry that I wasn't as interesting as other such awesome people that came to your channel, but I tried to do my best. So, okay, again, thank you, Katie, for having me. It was a blast, and have a great weekend. Good to see you. Say hi to the girls and Martin from me. Bye-bye.
Dude, I am just so thankful for the time and care that you took into making this, and I sure hope that you're not worried about comparing yourself to other people. I hope that nobody who will spend any of their precious time having an epic conversation with me will worry or compare themselves to anyone else, because that's just silly. It's silly. You're great, and I'm so thankful for this time. So anyway, I will say hugs. Thank you whoever who watched. Please give this video a like because I feel like it deserves it. And if you want to stick around and see amazing conversations, I want to do these every week on Thursday, so you should subscribe if you haven't already. You should tell your friends if you liked it and you thought that it was meaningful. And don't forget to remind Omry that his content matters. And if you're a content creator, your content matters. When you put your heart into it, when you put something positive and true out there, I can't think of anything more important than that. So, yeah, one more time. Hugs and nostrils of death.